And because Clifford was he was drawing my blood and the blood of other people, and was studying our saliva in order to see if we had the fibers, I did what he calls the red wine test, and I definitely had the fibers, and I definitely saw under his microscope or spectroscope, I don't remember which it was, I saw this little hybrid that I'll discuss in more detail, this little hybrid creature, bacteria-like, digging its head into my erythrocytes and eating the iron out of my erythrocytes. So I definitely understood that, it isn't just the people with the lesions on their skin who are picking fibers out, seemingly very electrically sensitive fibers, and then being told by doctors that they have delusional parasitosis. Yep. It isn't just them who have these fibers. We all have these fibers. We're breathing them. They're coming down on the chemtrails. It was because of my friendship with Clifford and and being involved in the initial blood test that I began to realize, wow, this is huge. This puts all the other chemical and biological warfare that we all have been subjected to in this country, not counting other countries, since the Cold War and before. This puts them in the shade, because this is a nanotech operation. This is definitely an engineered species, and I feel it is going toward many more experiments, and we are the petri dishes. So I know they're in here, but they are not, I do not have the subcutaneous crawling sensation. I do not have lesions at this point. I never have had any. So, in a way, if I hadn't seen my blood under the microscope, it would be hard for me to imagine that I have this going on. And I think that's the condition of many people. They are not aware that they're breathing anything in other than, maybe some people now know about the heavy metals, which in itself is very difficult to balance. And, of course, I would highly recommend that people detox now and then.
The blood test that you were involved in with Clifford Carnicom, how long ago was that?
Let's see. I've been back in the Northwest 3 years, so probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. Were there any follow-ups after that?
As a blood test? Yeah. No, but I know pretty much how these little creatures operate. They are genetically engineered. You can see the different colors in them. They have different colors for different features and jobs that they have. They operate as a hive mind. And I think the question that everyone probably has is, if we all have the fibers, why don't we all have the lesions? And I have thought long and hard on that, and definitely talked with Clifford on that, and I'm really not sure, but I do notice two things. I have interviewed several people with Morgellons. A couple of them died. And the other, I don't know how the others have turned out. I haven't followed up on them. And what I did notice is that their immune systems were pretty much already compromised. And whether or not they were targeted individually in an experimental way, well, if you think about it, and given that I think just about everything going on now is still in the experimental phase, though they're having quite the number of successes, I would say that some people are individually targeted to just to wind it out to the full extreme, to see how the doctors respond in hospitals, to see who needs to be brought on board, to follow their hospital records, their clinic records. I too did a long stint on MK Ultra, and very much understood by the end of my research into the history of MKUltra, which, as you know, they say ended in '73, and that's nonsense. How it goes forward into what I call EMKUltra, which is electronic, remote mind control. And I learned a lot about the researching process when you can't go to the library and order a big armful of books on the topic that you're writing about, because it's a national security experiment. And there is nothing available as far as mainstream written books. However, everything that I needed was pretty much in open source on the internet.
So these hybrid organisms that we're calling Morgellons, what is the end state? In other words, is that what is being used to connect people to the frequency so they can manipulate the population with frequency? Or I'm just trying to understand how that ties out. Well, what's your theory, or what's Clifford's theory on what exactly is going on? Why is it set up that way? What is it? What are they trying to do?
It seems to, I would say, both of us, and he's much more conservative than I am, and we'll need to test it and test it and test it to make sure he can really say this. It seems to me that all of this is going toward a transhumanist future.
Yeah.
I want to just run this by you. Clifford has these ideas, 6 strategies for countering the Morgellons organism, assaulting our red blood cells and devouring the iron in our blood. So here's what Clifford says. 1, alkalinize the blood. 2, antioxidation. 3, increase the utilization and absorption of existing iron. 4, inhibit the growth of iron-consuming bacterial archaeal-like forms, by doing the previous 3 things, by the way.
Okay.
5, improve the flow of bile to further alkalinize the blood and aid the digestive process. So a liver cleanse and a gallbladder cleanse would be a good thing. And finally, then he says at 6, detoxify the liver, and I would add the gallbladder. They love acidity, and they hate alkalinity. They will not grow. They will not die in an alkaline environment, but they will not grow. They will go into stasis. In an acidity environment, they go ballistic. They go nuts and reproduce at an amazing rate. Once you understand how this is working, then you can ameliorate various aspects of your outer environment and your inner bodily environment. And that's kind of how I see it, is this war is long, many battles are coming, and I need to keep in as tip-top shape as I can, while not being a Luddite, and while still using computers and living around Wi-Fi environments. However, there are many things that we can study, that we can incorporate into our lifestyle, that will not only make our health flourish, but will protect us from this particular electromagnetic era that many of us have been born into.